All right, let's talk AI. You hear about it everywhere, right? It's going to change everything. But what about something we do every single day? Getting the news. Is AI really our new news anchor? We're going to cut through all the hype and dive straight into the actual data to see what's really going on.
I mean, it makes sense, right? With tools like ChatGPT and Gemini becoming basically household names, you'd think we're all just asking them for the day's headlines. But is that really what's happening? Does the reality actually match all that buzz? Let's see what the numbers have to say.
So, to get to the truth, we're diving into a big study from the Pew Research Center. They went out and asked Americans straight up about their news habits, and the answers, well, let's just say they paint a very different picture from what you might be expecting. Okay, and here it is. The headline finding. Just look at this chart. That giant purple slice says it all. The overwhelming majority of Americans, a full 3/4, say they never get news from AI chatbots. I mean, the parts for sometimes or often, they're just tiny slivers in comparison. Yeah, let that number really sink in for a second. 75%. That's a landslide. It just goes to show, despite all the talk, AI has not become our go-to news source. Not even close.
And then you look at the other end of the scale, the people who use it often, it's just 2%. 2! The gap between what we think is happening with AI news and what's actually happening is just massive.
And this quote from the study really puts a fine point on it. Get this, even for the handful of people who are using chatbots for news, less than 1% say they actually prefer it. So yeah, for now, traditional news sources are still king. Okay, so if most people aren't using AI for news, who are the few that are? Well, no big surprise here, the answer has a lot to do with age. So the data shows that adults under 50 are twice as likely as older Americans to get news from chatbots at least sometimes. But, and this is a big but, let's keep these numbers in perspective. We're still only talking about 12% versus 6%. So even in the younger group, it's still a very small minority. And here's where it gets really interesting. That age gap we just saw, it's way, way bigger when you look at using chatbots for anything, like for work or school or just for fun. What that tells us is that getting the news is not the main reason younger people are adopting these tools. It's more of a secondary, occasional thing. Okay, so we've established the user base is small and it skews young. But what's the experience actually like for them? This is where things get a bit more complicated. We've got to talk about trust and, you guessed it, accuracy.